Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you watch this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. Today, I'm going to go through the 8 EDC fixed blades that have come in recently, that I've been carrying recently, or I've picked up recently. Share them with you guys, starting with this one because it was one in a giveaway tonight. But first, I want to say thank you to all the channel members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to anyone who comes in, checks out my knife, my EDC content. If you like it, even if you don't, but you're so inclined, if you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon, it really helps me out. And thank you for everybody who subscribed. I appreciate it. So the first knife is going to be a knife I picked up from Amazon. It was a very economical knife. Well under $25. I have used it. I haven't abused it, but I've sharpened it. I've cut a choil into it, which it needed. I didn't do a great job. It was my first choil. But it is called the Flissa. So the Flissa is a full tang D2 knife. I've actually kept it on this kind of tech lock. I would normally put it on an ulti clip, but I just carried this for a few days, used it, cutting a bunch of different material, and then wanted to sharpen it because I wanted to see how the steel felt. And it felt very good. It sharpened up very nicely. It burned up nicely. Got very sharp. Whoops. And again, this is a sub $25 knife. So I think if anybody's looking for their first or just a hard use, small EDC fixed blade, the Flissa is not a bad place to start. Is it the end-all be-all of a great knife? I wouldn't say that, but I would say for what it is and for what it costs. I remember when I got into EDC fixed blades, I bought a Tucson. It was like 70 bucks. This is a little 7-inch guy with a 3-inch blade, 2.5-inch cutting area that works very well, very basic, but very well done. It's going to run you right about, I think it was $21.99. Don't quote me on that. I'll try to put links to all these that are available in the description. Coming up next is another odd one from Amazon that was also in that $20, $25 range. And this one, I've really kind of enjoyed carrying. I enjoy this thing because it's so thick. It's like 9 CRV, 18 MOV. I've used a lot of my KPL knife oil on it, so I've kind of got it conditioned. But this thing, guys, not only is thick, and when I say thick, like thick as a brick, I'm sure that's a 1/4 inch or more, but it is an absolute slicer. Unfortunately, I can't keep it that straight to finish my cut, but it does it. It's got a really nice, even bevel on both sides. You've got a flat bevel that starts, you know, you've probably got 3/4 of an inch of bevel that comes from a really thick starting place of 0.35. So thicker than 1/4 of an inch. I thought it was cool. I thought it looked cool. I haven't tried to chop with it yet. I think it would probably chop pretty good, but I use it more of a slicer, limb sliper. I think I'm going to get rid of the lanyard and just let it go naked. But the sheath retains very well for a big heavy knife. And it's got one of these imitation clips that's like another clip that I've got. I forget the brand, but it's set up to mount outside the belt unless you're left-handed. So I'm going to get rid of that, put an ulti clip on it when I do a little bit more testing with it. But that is the Sedok EDC off Amazon. I'll put a link because I just picked this up to check it out. Moving on, we come to an absolute baller of a knife that I'm excited to say. This knife was sent to me for review with the absolute intention of me sending it back. However, even though I'm not buying knives, when I got it in hand, I had to buy it. So I reached out to Andrew and he said, "Which one do you want?" I said, "The one you sent me is fine." So I bought it. He's sending me the guard dog. This is called the RanchDog, the Lucky Dog knives. I think I've got one of their stickers handy. Lucky Dog knives, RanchDog. It is built by a maker by the name of David Mary. David is a custom maker in Canada. I think I actually have his card right there. But he made this knife for Andrew. It's kind of a collaboration. And this is one of two blade styles. This one has a space style blade. And the other one that I'll be doing a review of and sending back is a very gradual, light hawkbill, but a really neat looking knife. We're going to look at a knife here shortly that is the first experience I've had outside of the folder that I experienced from CMB. 6-inch little blade, guys. 6-inch little knife with a almost 2 3/4 and a 2.5-inch cutting area. Wonderful little handcrafted knife by David Mary Customs, made for Lucky Dog knives. I've been carrying that a lot. Got a deep concealment carry clip on it. Next up, this knife is probably my favorite T.Kell. It is circumferenced. That doesn't make sense. That's a circle. It is past the Piranha. I love my Piranha still. I don't love it any less. But this knife is thick. The balance on it is amazing. It's also got a very, very nice bevel. And it is super, super sharp. This is Nitro V. Excuse me. ABEL, not Nitro V. CNC assisted. You've got these handles that you can choose your different make of handles. You've got these pretty cool fasteners that I think use a T20. If I'm not mistaken, T.Kell designed those. They're made over in Georgia. They're parted. There are a lot of partners that they have. So they've got people that help them with heat treat. And they do everything is sourced in the U.S. If I'm not mistaken, on the East Coast. But this knife is a ripper. It might not be the sliciest because it's got a thicker grind. I can tell you it's got bite for days. And it can poke through, I'm sure, a car door. At least the first layer of a car door. Because it is very thick and that point is very thick. And it's just very much a sweet knife. I love the handle. It's very comfortable, very slim, but you've got this nice butt with a little bit of exposed tang back here that you can use for an attitude adjuster or to drive a tent stake, we'll say. This little guy comes in right at 7 inches with a 3-inch blade, an interior handle of 4 inches, and a cutting area of 2 3/4. Fantastic jimping, which kind of angles up, so it gives you that thrust grip, but it also gives you a great grip for just regular cuts. The sheath retains very well. I put the Ulti-Clip 3.3 on there, I think is what it is, and carry it in my back pocket like I do all my other EDC fixed blades. I really like this. Love the Warncliffe design. This is the T.Kell Agent 002. I don't think I said that. Moving on, we come to a knife that was also made by David Mary Customs. What makes this one different is, since we met David on the live stream, there's a gentleman that has a small knife company up in West Virginia called New River Knife Works. And New River Knife Works worked with David to put together a design that he had been working on and he wanted David to build. And what was the resulting knife is this River Hawk. This is the New River Knives River Hawk. So you've got 2 blade marks, maker's mark. You've got New River Knife Works. You've got ABEL, which is the blade steel. And then you've got David Mary's stamp. And what is awesome about this knife, a couple of different things. One is the size. So it is absolutely a full 4-finger knife. It's going to be a little bit longer, but still very comfortable for an EDC knife. Right over 7 inches. And it's got this very gentle, which I mean, not very extreme, hawkbill. So if I was going to show you how much air you've got there, that shows you. But I've been using this knife for probably only about 2 days. It is an absolute ripper. And for cardboard, just because of the way it keeps and pulls the material into the cut, it's got a very nice toothy grind. You've got two very distinct places to put your finger. So you've got jimping that's very grippy right here up front and right back here. So this I feel like is for my thumb. I feel like this is for my finger if I want to do detail cuts. Thumb if I want to do more push cuts or pull cuts, whatever the case may be. Talking to the gentleman, and I'm going brain dead right now. I can't think of his name, from New City Knives. Real nice guy, lives up in West Virginia, does this along with a full-time job, which is have New City Knives. I'll put that website in the description as well, because he's a small business, has some really cool stuff. Besides custom stuff, he carries some of the stuff we all love. I just hadn't been aware of him. But this is a really nice little knife. This is the Riverhawk. It's a custom. These guys go for $155 with this handle, and it's not micarta. It's called something. I will, if you go to the website, you'll see it. It's something, some material. It's similar to micarta, but it's not. They have one in stock that has carbon fiber that's $180, and then they've got one in stock that is a wood handle and a MagnaCut blade that is $210. So I think they've got probably 5 of these in stock. Really cool knife, great sheath. Deep concealment carry clip. I like to have them where they go a little deeper in my pocket. Very easy to reach in and get out. That one's gotten a lot of carry time. And then we come to the 3 that I've just started carrying. These were sent in to me by a brother from another mother, a channel subscriber, Lee. I won't dox him by giving out his last name, but sent some knives for me to check out, to experience. One of them was this Bark River bird and trout. So I've got a Bark River Micro Canadian, which is a really small Bark River knife. This is very similar in size to my White Mountain small game, which makes sense because I think this style of this blade, the thinness of the grind, you'll see how slicey this is in a second, and the maneuverability make this the perfect trout knife, the perfect grouse knife, the perfect pheasant knife, the perfect duck knife, probably even larger game if you needed to use it for skinning and prepping food. But I can also see it as a fantastic camp knife, a knife that would be great for not only prepping food, but doing some of the heavier work around the campfire or campsite. So one thing about Bark River that made me nervous initially when I got the Micro Canadian was that I don't like vertical carries. But I figured, since you've got these rivets here, that I would put an Ulti clip on it. However, first thing I did was put it on my belt. And I realized the way that Bark River does their sheaths, they make it very, very comfortable. It does not dangle as low. It rides higher, at least in my opinion, and it does not feel as much like a vertical carry. I have no problem with it. This little guy is in CPM 154. There are a whole bunch of these in stock at DLT right now. I will leave a link to DLT where you can get them. But watch how slicey this is, guys. Watch this. Watch this. And you know I'm not a good cutter. Whoop, there goes my not good cutting. But from the heel to the point, it is just an absolute razor blade. Very low to zero grind, just perfect. I mean, just a beautiful little knife. It's got this nice aged walnut handle, brass pins, and then a brass lanyard tube there at the back. It's going to be one of the longer knives. This would be one of those that kind of was more of a hiking knife for me, a pack knife. It's going to come in right under 8 inches. So 7 3/4 inches. Still a small EDC knife for most of you guys and gals, but an absolute winner. And I want to say these start off around 155, and depending on the handle material, go up and down from there. But I'll leave a link where you can look at about 30 of them. So moving on, he also sent me this little jewel right here. Now these are not in stock currently, but this, if you guys remember, if you've been long timers of the channel, you know I've been a big fan of Asher knives. I've reviewed almost all of them up until about 2 years ago. Had about 9, have given all but 1 away, which is my Thai Holy Spiro. But guys, this is the Asher Fixie, as it's called. It's his first, if I'm not mistaken, fixed blade, and it is wonderful. I have been blown away by this knife. The way it carries. I have not changed out the clip. This is just a very standard, basic interior pocket clip. He uses hardware that uses T8. It's different hardware than you normally see that's like for holster or sheath mounting hardware. The sheath works very well. It's got a great retention point where that handle bolt is. You've got G10 handles. You've only got the AK here on this stonewashed S90V blade. So you've got an S90V tall flat grind. Check this out. And guys, when these are in stock, I want to say they're 115 bucks. That's me messing it up at the end, because this is an absolute beast. It's got a great sharpening choil, has a great finger guard. Very slicey. I think for an EDC fixed blade, I think Asher knocked it out of the park. And the price point of their knives, one of the things I loved about it when I first got in the hobby is I was getting, at the time, S35V. I was getting, at the time, M390. I was getting premium materials for not a whole lot of money. When I say not a whole lot of money, around $115. And I think this knife falls right within that range. It is a great fixie, in my opinion, because I like a thicker fixie. I like a slicier knife because I'm using it as an EDC knife, as kind of my daily urban replacement. This guy's 7 1/4 inches. It has got a 3 1/4 inch blade with about a 3 1/4 inch cutting area and a full 3 3/4 inch handle from here to here. You've also got a lanyard tube, contour G10 scales, very, very nice sheath. It is an absolute banger. It's been a joy to carry. I'm going to be getting it back to Lee pretty soon. I'm going to do full reviews. I've done unboxings on these knives, but after I've carried them for just a little while, I'm going to kind of give you my final thoughts. And they've all, spoiler alert, have been fantastic. And probably the one that has impressed me the most, without a doubt, is this Very Good Knife Company, a company I was not aware of. I was so impressed with this knife, which is called the Tradition Junior. I went to their website, looked at a lot of their designs, found their About Us number, and then found the Contact Us number. And I just picked up the phone and called them. And the only reason I called them was I knew these were handmade, and I wanted to call and tell just somebody who worked there how impressed I was with this knife. That I see a lot of knives come across my table. I see a lot of great knives. This is spectacular. I've seen other spectacular knives, but I think they all deserve the maker to be notified that it is a spectacular knife. And what I did is I spoke to a young lady who is actually the wife of Jacob, the maker of this knife, and they have 4 kids that are homeschooled. It's just the 2 of them. This knife company started, it'll be 1 year, November 30th. But if you look at the quality, Jacob has been working for his dad for the last 10 to 12 years, working on specifically grinding blades. I don't know the name of his dad's company. I will link it in the review if I can find it. But his dad makes art knives, The way she was explaining it to me, he does not sell them in knife stores per se. He sells them in jewelry stores out in Aspen, in Lake Tahoe, and other very rich areas, and they are tens of thousands of types knives. So the bottom line is, I won't get into the drama that's part of the family dynamic, but Jacob wanted to go out on his own, take the skill that he had developed through his hard work, and bring knives to people that could afford them. So these are offered in either 80 CRV or in Nitro V. I'm sure you could do custom too. This is one of his specials. Normally the handles aren't going to be carbon fiber, but you can get, it's a custom handmade knife, right? I love this design, deep hollow grind. The grind line to me is so freaking sexy, and most importantly, this would be good for cutting anything you could possibly need to cut, definitely in an urban environment, but also in a rural environment. This knife is, to me, again, it's very subjective, stunningly sexy, wonderfully done. A new maker that if it hadn't been for Lee, I might not know existed, and I am so stoked that I do. When I get back into the knife buying world, I will be getting this knife, the Tradition Junior, and they make a little tiny knife. It's not the Cricket, but it's called something like that. 7-inch long knife. It's just perfect. Absolutely perfect. Almost 3.5-inch blade with a 3 1/8 inch cutting area, an inside grip of 3.5 from here to here. Wonderful bevel, just done so cleanly. So guys, a little bit different. These are knives that we haven't seen a lot of them yet. You might have seen them in unboxings. I'm starting to carry them, and I'm really enjoying them. And they're what I will be carrying all through the weekend, through early next week. And I plan to get some reviews out on these three first, overviews, so I can get them back. Then this one. And then I've gotten reviews that are up on the T.Kell Agent 02. Fantastic knife. I think some of these are in stock. The RanchDog, which I think is maybe one in stock, but I think these may be out of stock. But the Guard Dogs, which are the same size, I'll have one of those coming in pretty soon to show you guys. And then you can always get Flissa over on Amazon. And I'll link all this stuff up for you. And this Sedok little sharp axe. But guys, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the content. Hope you found it interesting, informative, entertaining. Do me a favor, if you're so inclined, hit me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if I suck. And then also, please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart and choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.